Hi guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we've been busy with the rear hatch, the awning, and the fridge. There's a little bit more to see as well, so let's get into it. So we've got our fridge slider in now for the ARB fridge. We've actually gone for a smaller one because the original one was just absolutely massive and you'd really struggle to get into it, even though it's still not that easy, but it took up too much space on this box as well because I wanted to have room at the end for someone to sit. So we went for a slightly smaller fridge. I've got this all bolted in. Now these, where I've positioned them, actually went through one of the support beams underneath this board, so I couldn't fit it onto the board separately. If I'd moved it back slightly, that probably would have been easier and just gone through the board, but I quite like the fact that I've gone through the metal support bracket of the frame for the fridge slider. But it meant reaching these was virtually impossible because you need really long arms to get. There is a gap, obviously, when this is open to get all the way in, but it's in now. Equally, we've had to put these little locating feet on. So these are, you can actually have these here or here, depending on how far forward you want the fridge. We want it as far forward as possible, and they'll just locate the fridge feet onto the plate. They won't secure it on. We need the strap for that, which is something else. So it is quite an expensive method, but it should be worth it because it's got so many features that are going to make life a lot easier. And there we have it. So we've got our feet are located. Look, they've got little rubber feet, and they just, those brackets in there, which again are quite hard work to get in. I cheated and actually used some flange nuts instead of these thread lock ones because they're easy to put in the back. Just access is quite tricky to do it all up, but it's in. One thing that worried me when I first installed the fridge was the fact that it's got this power, 12 volt power, which we're going to be using at the front, and I thought that's a nightmare because it's going to mean the wire goes all the way back. But cleverly, they've actually added one to the back as well. So it'll be powered from the back. I don't mind on our setup if we're going to have to use a stool because you always want one of these anyway in and around a camping vehicle. So that's going to be under our cooking station, and what that means is we've got our camping station deployed, and if we've got the stove out like that, if we need to get into the fridge, as long as we've got that little step in place, it's pretty easy just to get access in there, get out what you want, and then you're done. And it doesn't take up too much of the space there. I think that's pretty cool. So all in all, we're definitely getting there with our space. And there's a little catch on the side here so that we can push our fridge back in. Now it's got a double locking latch, so you push it in once and it's in, but it's not locked. Push it down one more time and it's locked in place. This fridge is ram-packed with features, which we will cover in a future episode. When we've got power in the vehicle and we start discussing that, I'll show you all the gadgets that this fridge has got, and we'll get it out and about and start using it. Well, now that we've got our fridge installed, let's get it tied down using the tie-down system for the Zero fridge freezer. This is specific to our fridge. So we've got to bolt our fixings onto the bottom. I'm going to do it up enough so that it's not super tight, but it doesn't rattle, so I can still move it. There we go. A bit more. There we go. So we can still move it, but it's not going to drop down on its own. Pull it down. And you're good and tight. Look at that. There. Right, and now I'm really happy with how secure that is on there. That's not going anywhere. Brilliant. The only negative to having these cams pointing outwards is you could catch them when you're working on it, so you might want to flip it round like so and tension that up. So you don't have to worry about tensioning these massively at the front. Just get them sitting nice and neat and out of the way so they can't be released by accident, and then tighten up the back ones just to give it that final pull down, and you'll find that that's really nice and secure now. Now the rear hatch is really important to us on this camper because we need not only access into the back of the vehicle, into this storage locker here, but also we need a flat surface to potentially hold our space heater, but also various other things, and we might also want to have a quick snack or breakfast at the back, depending where we parked. It's just a really nice use of space. So I wanted just to fit this hatch ever so quickly because I wanted to get an idea of how it worked with the drop down shelf, and I wanted to see if obviously when it was up it would restrict access, etc., but also give us an idea. So we got Reese just to help me hold it in place and tighten up the bolts. So we got all of these in place, and I did actually drill out these 2 holes at the top here on each side of the hinge so that the hinge could sit recessed, because it's got little nuts on there and it can sit recessed into the panel. So I just cut some cavity out so that was sitting in there, and that's worked really well. Now again, unfortunately no instructions with this, but it's not the end of the world. It's fairly easy to work out, but obviously if you're thinking of getting one of these hatches yourself, you can follow this video. Now it comes with these 2 brackets that fit on the side here, so it's nice because they're a strengthening bracket and they can go actually behind here and sandwich the frame around the composite board, so that gives it additional strength. You actually just mount then the gas strut from there onto these 2 brackets that come in the pack. So you just have to take the 2 brackets and actually screw them onto the underside of this door hatch, and then you can put your gas strut onto there and down below. It's pretty simple stuff, and it does work. The way I've got it set up here seems to work perfectly with the sort of the majority of the meat of the gas strut at the bottom, and then it just closes nicely, and then when you get past the stroke it just pulls it in. So it's a really nice bit of kit. There's a little bit of wobble on the top here, but that needs supporting, but we're not done yet. We've got our shelf to fit. If it's level, it'll look level as well. Here we are. Let's just hope they all line up. Oh. So, these need tightening because you just noticed when I was moving it around it's actually slipped slightly, so we just need to loosen these off and get it set level. Yeah? Yeah. Oh yeah. Really pleased with that, Steve.
Good that.
Good that. You can lift this up and it's actually got a mole system on there. Now that's designed obviously to attach things with straps, carabiners, whatever you want. I can imagine we probably have a nice canvas bin bag on the back here that all seals up, a bit like a pannier bag you get on a bicycle, which I've actually got a couple of those, so I might actually try and utilise that. But once that's in place, once you drop it down, it's then going to drop down naturally as well. So that would be a really good use of that space, to have a couple of satchels on the back here, one possibly, like I say, for rubbish, one for other utensils and things. Nothing too valuable obviously because it's going to be on the back of the vehicle, but it's a really nice piece of kit. So I spent a lot of yesterday trying to work out how we're going to get our latches mounted onto our doors. Now the latches we've actually chosen are from a company called Metrol. I chose these in particular because they've got obviously an outside latch action lever, inside latch lever, but they've also got a deadlock, which is really useful. So you can see there, look, a nice little deadlock, and that can be activated from the inside or using a key from the outside. So it's got a double key locking system. Now the only issue we've got is they're designed for a door structure, if you like. I think it's between 28 and 32 mil, but don't quote me on that. I'll have to just do the specs. I'll put it on the screen now. These are only about 40 quid to be honest, and there's a lot you get for your money, and it's a really good solid bit of kit. But the problem I've had is obviously the board we're using for the doors, even though it's strong, it's quite thin. It's only 17 mil thick. Now, I worked with Steve on this. I've got to give him some credit because we did it together just to get an idea of what we're going to do. And to actually get this to fit, we've had to create this like spacer block, this mounting block. That's not all. We also had to remove some of the material inside here just to get the latch to sit flush. And then this is just a temporary attempt at the door trim. So the door trim is going to have a whole aluminium angle all the way on both edges. Well, actually on the front locking edge it's going to have an aluminium angle, and we will cut that to the right. It's the right shape, but it's just too far away. So when we do it on the actual door itself, this is just a mock-up. We'll have a nice tight line against there, which we'll actually use some sealer on as well. Comes with a foam gasket, so it is all really nicely watertight. And on the other side, we're going to be using this channel for strength, and that's going to sit on our door. So effectively, that is how the door's going to go on. Now for our hinges, again, Metrol came to the rescue, and they do these really nice cast hinges here, look, in black, and they're going to sit on our frame for the body and go through. Now these two holes here will actually go through the metal, but not on this side. And the problem that's going to give us is, again, we've got a gap between here. So I think if we can do it nicely, we'll try and template up some aluminium surrounds for the hinges, which will actually add strength, but also it'll make it all nice and clean and tidy. I'll put it on the door now and show you what it looks like. So you can see here where we've got a latch. Now obviously that's not going to be there, it's going to be about here. It's just that I've got it sat in position so I know everything works, and obviously our hinge is going to be mounted onto these frames here and straight through. Now it's a shame we can't use the existing mounting points. These have got little riv nuts in. We'll have to blank those on with some nice button heads just to clean them up, because that's where the old hinges were. But these will do a really nice job of making it look clean and making it nice and secure. Well, here is our awning, and what a nice piece of kit it is. I mean, for the size, it's not that expensive. I'll show you now on the screen what it costs, but it's actually got an integrated light as well, which has been assembled in there. Now, the ARB kits rely on fitting to their roof racks most of the time, and the only kit I could find that I could utilise was the quick release kit. Now, it comes with a number of brackets, and the idea is this is permanently attached onto our awning, and then it's got a bolt that goes through into a fixing that's permanently attached to our roof rack, or a roof rack, and then you just do it up. So it's quick release and it's always there. But we're going to use this particular piece, and I'm going to bolt it with 2 bolts into the top rail of the body. I'm going to use one with a riv nut through to the steel beam at the top, and then I'm going to do another one that goes through into the aluminium roof sort of top piece. So one should be enough to hold it, but I wanted to do 2 just to make sure. It's a big thing, and we might need to get 3 of these. We've only got 2 at the moment because it's a really big. I don't know how heavy it is. It says what the maximum is on here. That these brackets are designed for awnings up to 16 kilos. So I need to check the weight of that one. Well, I got a feeling that's more than 16 kilos. So we're probably going to have 4 of these on the top, but we'll do 2 for now. Make sure it all clears and all fits. If it does, we'll put some more on. I might have made a mistake. 2 things. Firstly, these have to be mounted onto our awning first, and then somehow we're going to have to get a little spanner in there, which I can do, I think, to tighten that up. The second thing is that going to be too close to where our door opens? Possibly. We've used the supplied little captive bolts. They slide in from the other end into this channel. Now these were hidden in the bag with the tie-down rope, so that was clever. Anyway, we've got our bracket in position. So you get these interference fit bolts that knock in to the bracket, which I've used for the top. The bottom one I have to leave as a bolt because I've got to be able to turn that from inside. So I'm going to do this up just enough to allow us to move it. There we go. So I think we've been really lucky with the awning. I mean, basically it's a 2.5 metre wide awning. It's fully encased, it's encapsulated with an aluminium body, which is the sort of deluxe version, because a lot of them just have a canvas bag around there. The only negative, I think, on any kind of awning setup is you do have this little gap here that is going to allow water. If you actually deploy it and it's raining really heavily, you are going to protect yourself, but water's just going to run down this face here. So we might have to fabricate something that just sort of kicks a little lip over there onto the awning top, just to make sure that this is also watertight. Now, there was one other thing that I was really hoping to show you on this video. It's not here yet. I'm filming this Friday morning and I have to finish editing it in a couple of minutes. So if it arrives, I'll do a quick shot at the end. If it doesn't, I do apologise, but you will see it next time, and that is the rooftop tent. So we're going to be looking at that in the next episode, and I can't wait. We've also ordered the rock and roll bed, and we've been using a company called Fabworks for that. And again, once that's here, I'll go into a bit more detail about why we chose them, what we chose, and how it's integrated into the back of the 130. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one.